We kick off tonight with the story of Anna. This post-war fishing boat sits quietly on the shores of the Anchor Marina in Cape Vincent. She's been there for 20 years, completely neglected, but fully admired. That admiration has a community rallying to save and preserve her, but is she too far gone? And how did she get there to begin with? Director of Production Tracy Duflo has more.
I found Anna in Groton, Connecticut. I don't know if she was built in Groton, Connecticut, but that was her home when I looked for her around the year 2000. And I was looking for a work boat to match up with my dive boat that we were using for treasure hunting. The dive boat worked good for diving, but for hauling stuff up and hauling it all back to shore, we needed something besides my beautiful Victory. So I found her, I went and bought her. Didn't pay too much attention about what her speed was compared to my dive boat speed, and it was an adventure bringing her up here. Within the first day, we were into another marina because there was some kind of an issue with the boat, and we had to get it fixed. And we'd come back in a week or so, and then we'd get farther along in the journey. She leaked pretty bad, and the further we went, the more she leaked. So we had to do some fixing repairs along the way to minimize that. The engine it's an old original engine, but it's one of those Detroit diesels that will run forever. Other than the black smoke that puffed out of the exhaust constantly, the engine never gave us any trouble. We did have trouble with the rudder at one point, and some pieces of wood came off of the rudder, and we had to stop and get that fixed. And nothing drastic, but nothing that turned out to be dangerous or that we had to get somebody to come and get us or anything like that. But a lot of work to get her here. After a period of time, we got down through Long Island into New York City and up the Hudson River. And she made it. I mean, she chugged along. It's not very fast, but a few issues came up that slowed us down. But here she is. And I just loved her when I saw her. And I knew there was going to be a lot of work to get her ready and usable, but we did.
Built around 1952, Anna's life prior to her journey to Cape Vincent, New York, was as a fishing boat. Used near the ocean shore, where the water is brackish, she was known as a black water boat. Much of the fishing was done using nets. After her ocean life, she found a home on the St. Lawrence River as a support vessel for John's dive boat, the Victory.
Yeah, the Victory was the dive boat that we had built around 2000 in Maine. And that was geared up with side-scan sonar, and we would see things on the bottom of the river. And we would drop down and see what they are. Sometimes they were just junk, sometimes it was a big rock or something, and sometimes it would be something like we thought was worthy of having, like anchors. 2 of those anchors are in the park and in the village. Instead of bringing those up, putting them in the dive boat or have the dive boat hauling it, we used the Anna for that. Now, it wasn't a good fit, and I can't say as the anchors ever got in her, but it was that type of thing that we would find. She was slow and didn't match the big boat, the Victory boat. So that was one of the misfits that undermined us really using her a lot for our treasure hunting. The local close stuff, that was one thing. But out in the lake, 5 or 6 miles, you know, we'd be there diving, have all the work done, ready, and she'd just maybe we could see her on the horizon coming to show up because a couple, 3 miles an hour is all she can do. After about 2 years, because of business reasons, I wasn't going to be up here for a year or two, not to do diving, not to do treasure hunting or anything. So we took her out of the water. And time went by, things changed, and it was a long time, not a long time, but several years before I got back to diving with the dive boat. And by then, Anna had deteriorated some, sitting on offshore. And there she sits, she's still there.
The Anna has been sitting on hard or land for approximately 20 years. She's deteriorated considerably and is no longer seaworthy. An effort is underway to save her and possibly move her to one of Cape Vincent's village parks so that others may enjoy viewing her. Some, however, argue that since the boat wasn't built in the Thousand Islands and was only used for a couple of years here, the boat really doesn't have ties to the area and is not worth saving. Others, however, say that over the 20 years she's sat on Cape Vincent property, she's become one of their own, a symbol of Cape Vincent to residents and visitors alike.
There's an affection for her. She's like an old soul. She's not ready for the heat. She's not ready to be torched and burned down. She can be rehabbed, not to go back in the water, but to look nice and sit at a park. It's not going to take a lot. We're not making her seaworthy again. We just want to make her pretty again. It's never too late. She could be restored. I'm not talking about restored, go out in the water, but she would look good, a fresh coat of paint. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay, but it'll preserve the boat. And probably every year some project or extra work or something that some volunteers want to work on, and keep making her a little better and a little better every year. It doesn't have to happen overnight. She's been sitting here for years, so it's going to be a little tricky getting her out of here, but it's not impossible.